Welcome back to Inside Moves, episode 6. I'm here with Manny Lubin of Slate Protein. They are selling strength via their healthy protein products. Thanks for coming, man.
I love it. I love that somebody sells strength. So we don't sell milk.
Yeah.
We don't sell drinks. We sell strength.
I was going to call you the milkman. That's out?
No, that's us. I mean, Josh, when Josh, my co-founder, and I started the business, we knew that one day in the future on our tombstones, it would say the milkman, or like the chocolate milk guys.
Yeah.
And you just got to be the brand, you know?
Yeah, totally. So take us back to the milk days.
So me and Josh, who again now is my business partner, we were both in the startup tech space in Boston. And what we loved to do was build and like sell what we're building and like grow and grow and grow. In the startup tech space, what's very difficult is actually having product. It doesn't matter how great the engineers are, it's actually building, like you can get your MVP, like your minimal viable product, but even that takes some time. A lot of times it breaks and you just don't have something to sell and build. And I think both of us realized a year or two into our tech ventures that we wanted to create something we could hold. Okay. Like just the idea of building something tangible just excited us after being in tech for a little while. And we just became friends through business and came together and realized we were both chugging lactose-free chocolate milk in our 20s. We felt as though it had too much sugar, didn't have enough protein. Mm-hmm. And I think at the time we were kind of seeking problems in our lives that had to do with something tangible. And we're like, shit, we're both doing this every day. Yeah. There's nothing out there. Let's fix it. And October 2017, I sent Josh a deck, like an investor deck, because I had some experience with fundraising, as did he. And it was for a better-for-you chocolate milk company called Sweet Victory Drinks. The idea was let's make healthy chocolate milk. But again, all evolved, and now we're more of like a strength and fitness brand than we are a chocolate milk brand.
I think we see this a lot of the time where a founder has a really good idea. They see a gap in the market. But how do you then go find the right people to execute on that? And how's it different in tech versus CPG, food and beverage?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I think, Josh and I, like we feel like we got a long way to go, right? We feel as though we're just kind of getting started. We're in like 15 to 20,000 stores now. We've been doing it for 5 years. Like we have some momentum, which is great. We feel like we do have a long way to go, but now, early founders will ask us questions like, where do I begin?
Yeah.
And Josh talks to Northeastern, where we go to school all the time. He goes back to his high school and speaks about this too. And the way that I like to think about it is, if I told you I'd give you 10 G's, if in the next 30 days you were a little bit closer to figuring out how to make the product, what would you do? I don't know. I'd ask people, like Google shit. Like, yeah, that's where you start everything. Yeah. Right? That's where we began. Yeah. Is we weren't sons of dairy farmers.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to get the sugar out of milk, which we do. We didn't know how to make it shelf stable and not have to be refrigerated, which we do. We didn't know which ingredients to use, which we now do, and we're always trying to improve. And I think we still kind of have the same mentality. Now we have a group of unbelievable advisors around us. We obviously have accumulated a lot of information, but still, when we don't know things, we just ask people and Google shit.
Yeah.
Like that is always the first place because that's what you have access to. And I think that's why starting a company these days, obviously it's more competitive, but more people can do it because of the access to people and information that we have just by picking up a phone or picking up a laptop.
Yeah. Cool. So at JDS, we believe, first off, I think we believe that America is getting healthier, more health conscious, and hopefully we have a healthier future ahead of us.
Yeah.
Slate is one of the first steps that we've taken into the space and had some success. What gave you the green light to say, I can go compete here when there's so many things on the shelf?
First and foremost, it was solving a problem in our lives.
Yeah.
There was nothing out there that was filling this white space for me and Josh. This was such a large improvement to anything else in the market. Mm-hmm. Where we're like, all right, we want it. Let's go see if anyone else wants it. Yeah. So we actually launched the business in Feb of 2019 on Kickstarter. We were canned chocolate milks. We didn't have any of them made yet. We only had like these small sample blank cans. And we had 3 flavors. We had classic chocolate, dark chocolate, and at the time it was called espresso chocolate milk that was caffeinated. At that time, it had 17 protein and 9 sugar. So it was still a significant improvement. But today we have 20 protein and 1 sugar, no added. So it's even better today. And I think in the first day on Kickstarter, we did 10 Gs. I think our campaign was 45 days. Ended up doing like 52 Gs. had all these people reaching out, being like, thank you, I want to help you chocolate milk. This is amazing. And I think that was the first, like, this opportunity is real.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just a couple of dudes from the suburbs of Boston that just want a little bit of a healthier chocolate milk. It's like, all right, there are people out there that want this.
Yeah.
And then so that kind of snowballed into, got picked up by Shark Tank, went on Shark Tank before we launched. Then we launched the business. And then grocery stores started reaching out to us, and we started getting a lot of this traction because of the product differentiation paired with the great taste.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the first domino was definitely Kickstarter, but before that, even like the mini like aha moment was just we wanted it.
Yeah. I think something we see a lot in business is people, they want to see data. Right? They want to see something proven out that the market wants this or needs this.
Yeah.
Was it just the Kickstarter campaign? Was that all it took to convince you guys, or did you go time and money surveying people doing it like that?
We spent time and not money.
Yeah.
Early on, you have all the time in the world, no money.
Yeah.
Now you have no time and still no money. No, that's kidding. We Googled like the chocolate milk market, or like I think it started with the milk market. And I think what we found is that everyone was like, milk is dying, right? Milk is dying. Everyone's going plant-based. But if you actually look at the milk market, this was back in 2018, the only thing that was driving the milk market down was skim. Like skim was falling so quickly, it was almost anchoring the entire milk market. But whole milk, because that's when keto was really hot, was on the rise. 2% was on the rise. Chocolate milk was on the rise. Lactose-free milk in 2019, like right when we were launching, we had data to show it was actually growing faster than plant-based. But no one was talking about the lactose-free milk market. It's not sexy. It's not as sexy as oat milk or plant-based. So we found all this data, but the key for us was we didn't want people, and we still don't want people to think of us as milk.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is just the base of the liquid inside the product. We think of ourselves as ready-to-drink protein drinks, and we always have. Like early on, like probably 6 to 12 months in is when we made the transition of even presenting ourselves as like a high-protein milkshake, because that's how we think of ourselves. And so if you look at the ready-to-drink protein shake market, like it's growing at a 7-8% CAGR. So like year over year, it's growing 7 or 8 points. And it's globally, we found data to show it's a $15 billion market and growing quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, because our espresso chocolate milk kind of evolved into now what we call our milk latte. And so we have 3 high protein iced coffees and 3 high protein milkshakes.
Mm-hmm.
More coming soon. And the high protein iced coffees are tackling the ready to drink coffee market.
Got it.
And so early on, again, we kind of used the data for which the RTD coffee market and call it a $25 billion market, growing at the same rate, same clip, 7 to 8 points annually.
Mm-hmm.
So you stack those markets together, you got a $40 billion market with a product that some people might think of as chocolate milk, which could actually benefit us because the indulgence, this nostalgia of chocolate milk can be a unique offering for that $40 billion market.
Gotcha.
So I think it's just taking all these pieces, and we always try to remember the markets that we're attacking, and we think about branding, marketing, presenting to retailers, et cetera. And that's that validation again. We didn't have this much information. We weren't like so clear on the vision in 2017 when the idea came about. But I think as things evolved, we realized that the opportunity was much bigger than a $2 billion chocolate milk market.
Yeah. Sometimes you need doers rather than just thinkers when it comes to these things.
Yeah. And also, I think any business, you go out and you think you're solving a problem,
mm-hmm.
and you uncover the much bigger problem when you're already in it.
Yeah.
Because until you're in it, you can't really see what's around you. You can't really see the space. And then when you start investigating, you start building, you start putting time into it, you realize the problem that exists is much, much larger.
Yeah.
And when I say problem, I also mean opportunity.
Right.
Much larger than the one you set out for.
Right.
And I think that's the key.
So what do people actually want? What are the pillars to what your product needs to be and what people are seeing on the shelf reacting to?
Yeah. I mean, for us, what still almost breaks my brain is when we look at the data from retailers, how many people out there are still just buying like full sugar soda or just like full sugar energy drinks. Because I think we all live in this like environment where everyone's trying to be better for you. At least most people in my personal life and most people I know, and investors I talk to and retailer and like human beings that I know are attempting to be healthier.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at the data, and this is not our brand, by the way, but you look at the data and it's still the high sugar, like the macros don't matter is still such a large part of the human diet, which I think we all agree is decreasing, and people are replacing it for better for you. And that's why brands like Slate, like LP, like a lot of these brands are starting to pop up and exist. But I just still think it's wild to see those numbers. We have built our brand on the theory that a high protein diet is here to stay and is only going to evolve. It's not just for the athlete. Like the slam audience, like the people on the magazines behind you, my assumption is they're getting a shitload of protein.
Yeah.
And they have nutritionists. But our assumption is in 5 to 8 years, we could go outside here and 5 out of 10 people, I don't know what the number is, but like half the people on the street are trying to increase protein in their diets, regardless of their fitness habits, regardless of what they look like, regardless of where they live, regardless of their income. And because we just think it's a healthier lifestyle, it's a healthier diet. So for us, things that are important to Slate's brand: high protein, number 1, low sugar, number 2, because sugar we just don't think is a necessity in the everyday diet. I don't want to say we as Slate as a team, but me and Josh, who are running the business, we don't believe it's a necessity. And then number 3 is taste. So we gotta taste good. People, I think we went through this era of, call it 2016, 2017, and still kind of existing right now, but this idea that if it's better for me, it's okay if it doesn't taste good. And I think there's some brands that kind of popped up and then now aren't having as much success because the product needs to taste good. I think consumers now, especially with Gen Z, again, talking at a macro level, it's not each individual person, but we found that they're just not as open to sacrificing taste. Like they just want things that taste good.
Yeah.
Like they want to enjoy what they consume.
Right.
And regardless of macros, if things don't taste good, people won't pick it up for a second time unless they're just like dialed into their diet and they think it's the only way to achieve their goals, which now there are plenty of ways to make things taste good, and it's not the only way.
Yeah, there are some freaks out there that really do eat to live, and it's just, I'm building my body and what goes in, I'm disregarding taste. But yeah, I think human nature is that we value food.
Yep.
It's enjoyment for us. You know, you want to find that balance. I'm one of those people. And I mean, the evidence is there though that we can find things that taste good and are good for you. And Slate's an example. I think there's a million things out there right now. At JDS, we're really interested in the better for you, but that's definitely one of the things that we talk about is it needs to actually be competitive with whatever it's replacing. And yeah, we definitely agree on that. I do want to hit on the taste and the early days when you guys went on Shark Tank.
Oh yeah.
Can you run me through your Shark Tank experience? I know the taste was one of the...
Oh yeah. So still some things I can't talk about forever until that Milkman tombstone comes up. But we at the time were pre-launch when it filmed.
Yeah.
And we didn't have final product. The product that Mark spit out never made it to shelves, but I will say, still fantastic. It was a great product. I think that was a setting of the expectation moment where in the moment, I think Mark started with and for people that haven't seen it, Mark even basically spit out Slate on Shark Tank. That was our Shark Tank experience. And then, but by the end, I think a handful of the sharks that came around on the taste. And I think it's also setting the expectation that it's better for you to begin. And which again, now I don't think we need that as much. But I don't know what they were eating or drinking before and after, and if it had affected their taste profile. But that product never made it to shelf. It was still fantastic. And I think that we took the sharks' feedback and realized we needed to make it more like real Java.
Yeah.
Which I think every CPG brand should always be trying to find ways to improve their tastes and their COGS, what they spent.
And what was the deal that you guys were asking for your pre-revenue at the time? I remember that being a talking point where they said, we don't like the taste. Oh, and there's no revenue here to prove that anybody likes the taste, right?
Yeah.
So what were you asking for? What was the logic there?
I think we were asking for $400K for 10%.
Yeah, that sounds right. That's how I remember.
And Josh said $400,000. I like to think that Josh and I are calm, cool, and collected in most situations. But like you just black out.
Yeah,
Your body just takes over. Like it's the Super Bowl. I think if I didn't again, it would be a much different experience because also at the time we were just in a much different stage in our lives.
yeah,
Evaluation is literally just an investor and a founder or founding team agreeing upon what the company is worth when it's a private company. So like there are companies out there, like we now have some investors that will send us deals and we hear about a lot of valuations. They're like pre-rev companies that are valuing themselves at like $200 million.
yeah.
And it's just like with no IP. It's just this is the team, this is the idea, this is what we're worth. It's like, all right, if you could raise on it, that's what you're worth.
Exactly.
At the time, I think we'd already raised like on a cap note a little bit higher than that.
Okay.
Just to like get things going. And I think also at the time, there's some things where we didn't know when the episode would air, so we didn't want to mention, but we're like a signature away from being locked.
Mm-hmm.
And so our thing was, I mean, we're probably going to get our asses kicked when we walk in here. I think we had hope, but then we had like the real, like we knew walking in, no sales, like we weren't previous successful founders. Like our friend Doug Bowden, who was co-founded Halo Top, went in there with his new company Gatsby and did a deal, and he was like, I'm the Halo Top founder, and they were like, oh, like it's like we didn't have that. We just had a vision, and we're like, we're worth $4 million.
Yeah.
And didn't have much else to give them other than the opportunity, and we sold. And did it go as planned? No.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just having that, like for any company that goes on Shark Tank and is continuing to grow, which we have, it's a reminder of where you were to where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Where there we were quite literally zero.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you've been on it. It's how JDS discovered you as Matt Aronson. Watch that episode. He agrees and pushes all the things that we've already talked about, just this better for you movement, the importance of how sports and athletes, our wheelhouse, can benefit a company like Slate.
Yeah.
So definitely glad you guys went on there. How was the morale after it? Were you like, how maybe we're missing? Was there ever a moment like we need to blow this thing up, or was it just kind of like a fire under you, like we need to figure some stuff out?
Morale was poor. There's never been a moment from the day that we started Googling how to start a chocolate milk company where we were like, this isn't it. Like, we shouldn't be doing this. There's never been a moment.
Good.
The moment that there have been plenty of times where we kind of looked in the mirror and said, we need to evolve, like not even pivot, evolve. Yeah. Like we need to make changes to make this thing better. Mm-hmm. And obviously that was one of them. But that was in terms of morale. Like the way that I describe like starting a business, being a founder is high peaks, low valleys.
Yeah.
Like that was a valley right after there. But then we got back to it and closed Harris Teeter, closed Whole Foods, mm-hmm. who we launched with, and ended up like launching a business and had a strong year one. So
yeah, that's great. Yeah. How did you growth hack with a small budget and stand out from everything else that's going on in food and beverage?
Now, what we know now, I think if we had to do it over again, we would be able to. Mm-hmm. If the product was great, it all comes down to the team. The team was fantastic, and the team still is fantastic. Our experience was a little unique because we launched 3 months before COVID. Mm-hmm. So e-com was on fire for everyone.
Right.
And for us, we just hammered meta ads. Yeah. And kind of found our niche, found some things that worked, and just started to build in. When it comes to building on social, building a buzz, you just got to try shit and just pull shit down. It doesn't work. And then just like being diligent, just going and trying to understand who your customer is, sending them the right message, mm-hmm. the right content. But it wasn't like some like fairy dust of like, this is how we did it.
Yeah.
Just chipping away.
Do you think that there's like I know you guys said it's specific to the time in COVID where e-com was on fire, but if you were talking to somebody that was founding a similar business today, is there a mix of e-com to getting in stores that is healthy and kind of cookie cutter that somebody should be considering if they're building a similar?
Yeah, it all depends on the product and the strategy, because I think when launching a business, there's so many different strategies to grow to call it 100 million in sales.
Yep.
You could, I mean, look at AG1, like they're valued at 1.5 B. I think they're exclusively e-commerce still. Like if AG1 starting to go in retail, they probably wouldn't be AG1 today, right? And then you look at someone like a Body Armor. I don't even know if they had e-com until they were doing 100 million. Like, don't quote me on that, but I have no idea. So they were, and obviously the founder founded Bite Noir in the past, like had kind of his own playbook and his own team, but both of those companies surpassed 100 million sales, completely different strategies, completely different products, both successful. There are so many different strategies. It's who is your customer, where are they, and where are they going to buy your product? Because what's difficult about beverages typically is they're expensive as shit to ship.
Yeah.
So you're shipping water and ingredients. Like that's at the end of the day, everything that's liquid starts and ends with water. Like even milk. Milk is 80 to 90% water at its core, right? Like if you suffocate all the water out of milk, you got protein powder. Much better e-commerce business.
Yeah.
Right. So what's the category? Where's the category hot, and where is your customer going to that channel to buy the product?
Gotcha. Operating with some more scale today, where would you like to see the heft in your business coming from? Is the revenue bigger margin on e-com? Is it better in stores? Like what is your target today?
Yeah, we have a healthy balance. Yeah, for us. Today and yesterday are Prime Day. I mean, the sales that I saw on Amazon yesterday.
Yeah. My girlfriend was all over it. I was like, well, you just spent 5x what you would have spent on that. Yeah. So I got you, but I guess it's worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's because this was we've up until now had, we'll call it inventory restrictions.
Okay.
So this was our first real Prime Day, and it's real.
Yeah.
But so I think for us, it's a healthy balance. We don't want to lean too much necessarily into one path because everything's kind of working for us. And we think if we and we don't have one that's just like taking off versus the other. So our strategy of a healthy mix of e-com, like we kind of bucket the two of e-com and retail, and we're mostly retail, but the two growing together kind of like in unison, has just been what's worked for us to date.
Gotcha.
Where year one, we were more e-com because of COVID, but ever since then, retail has taken over and we're a little bit more retail.
Gotcha. And your brand and your slogans, they've gone on a bit of a journey. I've heard you say this before, that in the early days, you wanted to be known for doing one thing really well. And that was healthy chocolate milk. When did you realize, okay, this can be something bigger than that? And how did that decision go?
Yeah. When it comes to, so we will, at least for the next 5-8 years, our assumption is that we will always be drinks forward. That is our bread and butter. That is where the brand began. That is, I don't know, the vast majority of our sales are, because we don't sell anything that is not a drink into retail stores at this moment. We know it works. The other stuff, kind of like the platform of other products that we have. So we have powders, we have cookies now. That's only sold on our website. And our idea is that if we can just toss it online and start to build that customer base and give our existing Slate customer more products to inject in their diets, because there's clearly a need for it. Let's give it a go and let's learn. It's test and learn. But the focus of the focus of everyone on the team, except for like a few people when they're actually creating the products and potentially some like e-commerce marketing, is always drinks.
Yeah,
that's where we focus. So I think the moment when we realized it was time to test out other things was when the requests started coming in.
Okay.
And when we just started digging around, we realized, all right, we can probably do this without detracting or deterring from the main focus, and that's to grow the drinks business.
Yeah.
We have it's basically 6 flavors, 3 protein milkshakes and 3 protein coffees.
Gotcha.
So we have our classic chocolate, dark chocolate, French vanilla milkshakes. We have our mocha latte, caramel latte, and vanilla latte protein coffees.
I love the caffeine. I'm a caffeine guy. It's how I get through the day. And if you can combine protein and caffeine, making it taste good, like, oh man,
3 p.m. every day. I'm drinking a Slate latte.
Yeah. And in a high protein diet, first I'm like myself, working out a lot, 200 pounds, I'm supposed to be getting like 150 grams of protein.
You gotta knock those numbers up.
Yeah, knock them up. Right?
Get me at 200.
Exactly. So now it's like I'm drinking the Slate at 8 a.m. when I wake up. Got to get only 1 grams of protein in me, and then another one later in the day. I mean, I can fill an entire day with Slate, especially if you're at a caffeine.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm like, for me, I don't even like count protein, but everything I eat or drink, I try to make high protein. Anything that's caloric, like I'll have my no cal, like my non-cal, like waters and like sodas and stuff that are all non-cal, but anything that's caloric, I try to do like protein chips. I try to do like, if I'm making a wrap, it's usually like a fiber wrap with a little bit of protein in there. Drinks, snacks, protein bars. Like get this, and every day with the Slate Protein cookies now.
Yeah.
And like, if you just replace, we again, kind of the vision of Slate is we believe if there's an opportunity to replace things you're already consuming with something that tastes just as good or similar, that's higher in protein, that's where the human diet is going.
Totally. Is there a competitor? I mean, in my head, I would name one that I think is maybe the bullseye for you guys, but I'm curious what you'd have to say.
We like to think we compete with the people next to us on the shelf when it comes to retail.
Okay.
From a brand perspective, you got Big Red and their Fairlife core power products, which they taste fantastic. They do a good job.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a large audience for them, and I think that we try to just be a little bit better and a little bit different in every single way.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I see everything on the shelf now. I see like protein potato chips. I see protein cookies like you guys have. How does that change what you guys have built from a production and distribution standpoint? Because early days, you went to a formalizer, right? You had 1 or 2 flavors. I don't know where it's being built, but now you have all these different products. It's expanding into all these different things. How complicated does that get?
It's somewhat complex.
Yeah.
But again, like we all show up for work and we work. So it's like you got sometimes you just gotta spend more than 8 hours a day, and our ops team, like Justin, who runs ops for us, just a savage.
Yeah.
Just an absolute savage, just always on top of it. Type of guy where like we can exchange texts at 11:42 p.m. if we have to.
Yeah.
It's just in it. And then Dwight and Mark also on the ops team, just like they just do a phenomenal job. And it's like, I always joke because I help oversee ops. So I oversee ops, brand/marketing, innovation, e-com, and then Josh and I kind of co-oversee finance at this point, but Josh is more finance, like legal and retail sales.
Gotcha.
And I always joke with the ops team, or not always, but I joke with them every once in a while that ops only gets reached out to when shit hits the fan, like when things go wrong, and then sales gets reached out to when things go well.
Yeah.
Which it's true. But so every once in a while, like if I get an image of just a perfectly wrapped pallet that it arrives at one of our brand partners, I'll send a photo. Feel like, fuck yeah, boys.
No, you did. You gotta celebrate that.
Yeah. So, but no, it's just staying organized and having the right people around you. But I think a lot of times early in business, ops gets overlooked. It's just like, oh, you just gotta get product from A to B. It's like, if you think like of a Slate can, or like anything you see on the shelf, even like when you go to a restaurant, you look at like a bottle of vodka behind the bar, the amount of ingredients that had to get shipped to one location from all around the world, the glass that had to get molded and sent to that place, the label that had to get printed and sent to that place, then the actual manufacturing of it, and the fact that it's shipping everywhere in the country. There's so many pieces to operations.
Yeah.
And so many things will go wrong.
Yeah.
And we're just dealing with it on a day-to-day basis. And as you scale, the small problems become big problems.
Yeah.
Because what was originally a $4,000 scratch, which again isn't nothing, that might be 40 G's.
Yeah.
That might be 85.
Yeah.
And I think that's why having people in ops that are extremely diligent, just constantly overlooking at everything and just problem solvers.
Yeah.
Like you got a problem, you just find a way to fix it.
So what does this actually look like? Do you guys have a factory? Like, where are all these cans stored?
Yeah.
They ship out of?
Yeah. So we have multiple manufacturers, one in the Northeast, one in the Midwest. We work with one in like the northern part of the South too. And then our cookies are manufactured out West. Our powders are manufactured in the Midwest. And we have another facility in the Northeast now. So it's like basically everywhere, all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you scale, what you realize too, and I think every company can benefit from manufacturing close to kind of where their heat map like distribution is, of course, because what you realize, especially as you scale, is damn, freight's expensive.
Yeah.
That shit ain't cheap. Like putting cans on a truck from the Northeast and sending it to LA, not ideal for business. But like also that you drive the sale, right? So it's not like you still make money, but just finding ways to go through the P&L and scratch pennies. That's why, like, again, if you can find ways to knock 30 cents off a case, maybe you're saving that on the freight at the end of the day, right? And if you have to ship it from the Northeast to the West Coast, like it's just a game of trying to scratch back pennies.
Yeah, got it. This partnership that you guys have with the UFC, it's probably something that's not on the table right in the early days. As your business grows, you have the potential to partner with really big brands like the UFC. What is really the nature of that partnership?
So when we were, must have been late 22, I think, late 2022. Got an email from a friend of Dana White saying we should catch up, like we should chat, which we had gotten connected, and we found out that Dana had been drinking Slate every day and lost 30 pounds and it's full keto. Loves the product, and that's when he actually went on the Pat McAfee show, and it's like mentioned something about it, and then we got connected with the UFC team, and like they obviously knew Dana was a huge advocate, and just started talking to them and ended up doing a deal June 2023. So that was about a year ago now. And during that, call it 18-month period, because we actually started talking about 9 months before that, now that I think about it. So call it during a year-long period, we were in this process of trying to evolve the brand past chocolate milk to protein drink. Like past, like we didn't want people to think of us as a healthy like the kids' chocolate milk. We wanted people to think of us as a better ingredient protein drink. And we were looking for brands to partner with to help with that evolution. And obviously it started with sports, right? Because we don't want to be exclusively a post-workout, like masculine, like muscly drink. But at the same time, like we want to be known as the better ingredient protein drink. So we started thinking about all the majors. And then coincidentally, Dana's team reached out. So it kind of all just came together. And what kind of helped push it over the finish line was if you just look at the UFC's numbers, they're crazy. Like they're bonkers. Not only the UFC promotion, but also just MMA and just the fight culture is just growing rapidly. Where I think in 15, 20 years ago, and we had this basically this open conversation like roughly with like some of our investors and our board of like the way that we kind of presented it is 20 years ago, that the UFC and fight culture was thought of as much like monster trucks and like kind of like only middle of the country and like just two people in a ring, like gloves off, like gladiator, like
wanted to touch that for a while.
but I think what Dana and the entire UFC have done such a good job of is building this into like what we were just talking about before the podcast of it's extremely tactical.
Yeah.
It's a very skilled sport and it attracts so many people now. And the brand of UFC has evolved and become like kind of like this, almost like this luxurious sport in terms of like the people it attracts.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And people are what they're wearing even.
Yeah.
It used to be like, like you're saying, like a monster truck, like casual. You go to a UFC event now, people are dressed to the nines.
Right. But I think what's so unique is they also have that core audience that loved it 20, 30 years ago. Like they still have like the fighters, the people that love fighting, but they also just have like the everyday sports viewer that is now just intrigued with how tactical the event is. And so that's basically why we wanted to go with and then the UFC as an organization as a whole is like the people behind it, not just Dana, but like the entire team there. I think that especially when you're an early brand, when you talk to some of these much larger organizations, that maybe not intentionally, but they kind of like remind you that look, you're very small and this is what we need.
Right.
Not once not once since you talked to Dana, since we talked to the VPs there, not one person in the UFC organization has ever like made Slate as a whole feel as though we're not as significant as any of the other partners.
Yeah.
I think for us that was key, because when going to any partnership, whether it's UFC, whether it's an influencer, whether it's, you know, a celebrity, whoever it is, like you need to go in, like, yes, you have your contract of deliverables and whatnot, but you need to go in knowing that you guys are going to try to help each other grow, like, grow to this brand.
Right.
And so that's why all things just align with the UFC.
Is there like a point at which you would tell, you know, an early founder, big deals like this make sense, but not until this point? You know, I think influencer marketing, dialing in, you know, the meta ads, like you were saying in the early days, at what point does something like a UFC partnership start to make sense?
That's a good question. I've actually had some people reach out to me about UFC partnerships, because like we're an early stage brand, we work with UFC.
Yeah.
And so I told the UFC team, it's like, send everyone my way. I'll tell them exactly how the experience has gone.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think it's like I would do a pre-launch.
Right.
But I think it's also, what is your sales strategy? Because if you're only selling dog food in the Northeast,
Yeah.
probably don't want a global partner.
Right.
But if you're an e-commerce brand, even there's any e-commerce brand, and you are trying to, like, regardless of size, and your goal is to build national awareness to the UFC audience, or to, like, again, take the UFC out of it, who is the audience that you're trying to reach on a national scale? And then who is the partner? Like, who is the platform that you think is best to broadcast that message?
Right.
Like, that's what it comes down to. And I think for us, that's still how we think about marketing, is when it comes to brand partners, whether it's human beings, which again, great people, like, of course, influencers, celebrities, partners, like the human beings are more than just like letters on an Excel sheet.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about why we work with certain partners, it's who is the target market we're trying to reach.
Right.
And who is the person, people, brand we think will best relay that message to that market.
Yeah.
So that's how I would determine if UFC is the right partner. And for most people, I think UFC is a great partner. Like, especially, obviously, if you look at the numbers, you'll know who their audience is and whatnot. And if you're trying to hit that audience, it's like they're great to work with. And I just like see their numbers and they grow like crazy.
Yeah, they're growing like crazy. Speaking of growing like crazy, we'll go back to Shark Tank. Bad moment for you guys. Like you said, morale was low, pre-revenue. Slate gets spit out on TV. How are things going today? I mean, I've seen some of our reports and things look to be going good. I'll give you a little bit of time here to beat your chest a little bit about the growth that you're going through.
I always like to think we got a long way to go.
Yeah.
Like, I think Josh and I always feel like we're behind, but not like drowning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we always just feel like there's so much to do and so much to add. And just so much white space in front of us, which is exciting. But, you know, you talk to a lot of, like, we're fortunate now to have like a bunch of co-founders of different companies on like investors and advisors, and a lot of business is blocking and tackling. It's like the big vision stuff, the growing to 100 million in sales and getting this account and this part. It's like, that's great, but how do you actually execute it?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is just putting out fires and just selling hard.
Yeah.
It's a big year of like national distribution growth for us, which comes with problems of its own. Like I talked about the operations of it. It's not like, you know, the truck driver pulled over on the side of the road and just like threw out all the Slate. It's just like, there are just so many things that need to go right, even to just get a case of Slate on the shelf.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, what's been the focus. But I mean, our goal is just to continue to grow.
I mean, from what I can see, you guys are everywhere. Sales look to be up and to the right every quarter. So congratulations on that. And you know, I'd love to shout out Matt Aronson. I think a lot of investing is finding value where other people might be missing it. And for him to watch that Shark Tank episode, and then still want to hit you guys up, that was super intuitive of him, and has been a good win for JDS Sports.
Yeah, that's the man. Yeah, like, we love you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's been, you know, kind of spearheading this CPG food and bev type of movement for us. He's done some angel investing, And I think we're kind of building the confidence thanks to you guys and Lemon Perfect to go out and hunt more of these things. So knock on wood, it's a tough space, but things are going pretty well.
Yeah.
I think you talked a little bit about like not wanting to think too big vision and focus on what's in front of you, growth. But I do want to ask, when you're starting something like Slate, what is kind of the end game, right? And investors will ask you this. Everybody always wants to know, if I'm investing in a seed or a Series A or Series B, where's the liquidity? Where's the exit? What's beyond this round? I think in food and bev, people probably think like, oh, if I'm making a drink, Pepsi will buy it one day or some conglomerate, right? Well, how do you guys think about that?
Yeah. Again, rule number one is have a great business. Josh and I don't believe that we will ever, and again, some founders are different, build a company to get bought or acquired by one person. Because then if that person doesn't want it, something changes or they pick something else up. Like, you just spend years building something for someone that doesn't want it. I think that we believe that, especially when it comes to beverage, you typically get to a certain size where you're no longer like a products and marketing company, which we are today. You become an operations. It's how do you've proven brand market fit that whatever space you're in needs it, and you've proven product market fit that people are coming back for their second, third, and fourth can purchase, whatever. So your brand market fit, you have product market fit, you know that the opportunity is there. Then it's a game of operation. It's a game of how do we get this in every store? It's a game of how do we get more cooler placement? It's a game of like, how do we get more marketing? Like, how do we take this to the next level? Which I think some of the stuff, phenomenal job of that is Celsius.
Yeah.
Like, you look at someone like a Celsius and it took them 20 years, right? It didn't happen overnight. A lot of people don't know that. But the energy drink space needed like a better for you, like fitness, like brand. They almost have this like nautical flair to them, we think. But what's phenomenal about Celsius is it's inclusive to females.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's the first energy drink that's all inclusive.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously on children, but like in all inclusive, where it's not just kind of like the 20 years ago UFC audience.
Right.
And so then Pepsi bought, and I point to the company and it's blowing them up.
Yeah.
So I think with Slate is, again, whether it's a financial investment, whether it's some sort of partnership, but you get to a certain point where when we prove, which we think, again, we're on track to do, that we have brand market fit where the ready-to-drink protein space needs a brand like Slate. Well, we have product market fit to prove, all right, people are coming back for more, like this, people are enjoying the products. Then you go to a certain point where there are enough proof points where you've proven that, and typically find another partner to help you grow.
Gotcha.
So, but again, I don't think there's necessarily like a dollar number or anything like that. But that's what we believe we see. But also at the same time, if you get to a certain point where you have the fit in the market and you don't need the partner and you're a profitable company, like, you can Chobani and keep going, like what Hockey did.
Yeah.
But I think that these days it's more difficult. But for us, like we want to build the business to a point where we have options the best we can.
Gotcha.
As many options as possible. And things will change. But today, that's kind of how we think about the future of the business.
Gotcha. How about the macro economy is crazy right now. The news we hear about our own government, about other governments, and about rate hikes, rate cuts, is nuts. In your space, what do people talk about, and what is the temperature like?
Today, the most important thing is becoming profitable.
Yeah.
It's how fast can you, and it's changed literally in the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
It's gross sales and net sales still important, but today, if you're a profitable company, like, you're winning already.
Got it.
And that was not the case when we launched. And again, I think that's just from a business economic standpoint, it makes more sense. Like, I think when I think about how like venture capital was started, it wasn't necessarily started to survive for companies to survive. It was started for companies to grow. Like, when I think about in the past and like how I truly view venture capital, isn't like, here's money so that you can just like keep afloat. It's here's money so you can continue to grow. But I just think that the culture has changed because people have realized that if they can grow way, way faster, the upside can potentially come sooner. I mean, everyone wants money fast, but I personally, even though it's a little bit frustrating, like I understand and kind of enjoy the shift that's happening.
Yeah.
Slate aside, like me personally, because I think that it will allow companies to figure out their problems sooner and not bury them with money.
Yeah.
Where I think there are companies out there that even like, I think Josh and I have seen that we thought had a little something, but just tried to grow too fast, raise a bunch of cap, and then just like couldn't maintain.
Yeah. Is there a way that you think Slate becomes defensible against the guy down the road who comes out with this new formula and says, I'm going to copy that?
I mean, we're already seeing that. I mean, like we knew we were going to see it no matter what. And I think the most defensible thing in any business is the brand.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to food and beverage, like you can patent a recipe.
Right.
But like you can patent a process, but also like we know, like an energy drink company that patented a process of like removing some sort of energy from a leaf, and like the product and brand just didn't hit and it just didn't make it. Like for us, it comes down to a great brand and great products. Like it's so simple, but a lot of people forget that.
Yeah.
It's just a great brand and great products. And it starts with the products and both will evolve. I think it's finding that white space opportunity and just attacking it like relentlessly.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, in terms of also some other things are, if you've tried a lot of the protein drinks out there, hard to make it taste good.
Yeah.
Very difficult. Takes a lot of testing. Takes a lot of, like it's taken us years to get to where we are today. And our products are fantastic. People love them. And I think we still are working on new products and still always want to improve our products. Like I think, again, every company I believe should always want to improve the products. And so in terms of defensibility, I think that part of it is the products themselves. And then also setting up the supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
Like we use the ultrafiltration process to remove the lactose sugars. We use the retort process to make it shelf stable. I said that in 7 seconds. Combining those two things with a recipe took 14 months.
Really?
And you have to dedicate your life to it. Like if I don't know if there's going to be a mid 30s or early 40s or even like late 20s-year-old person that's just going to be like, F it, for the next 16 months, I'm going to try to make a better Slate.
Yeah.
Hey, like, let's go for it.
You guys really taught yourselves everything about lactose-free and shelf-stable. Like, it wasn't somebody you called up that knew how to do that and then turned it on for you. It was kind of like a really learning process.
We Googled how to take the sugar out of milk. Because milk naturally, if Slate, which is 11 ounces, had just like skim milk or whole milk, it would have 17 grams of natural lactose sugars.
Okay.
That alone is too many.
Yeah.
Even if we just sweetened it with natural sweeteners, like 17 natural sugar, like I'm not drinking that. So we Googled how to, like, we're like, do we boil it? Like, what do we do? And then it's actually a funny story, is we found a guy on LinkedIn who still has no idea who the hell we are. And his thing was dairy specialist. His occupation was dairy specialist. Get his phone number there. We gave him a call. Like, what's up, man? Like, we're like out of Boston. Like, you're in the greater Boston area. We're trying to create this lower sugar chunk. And like, just like gave him this pitch. Didn't even like ask about anything about his business or anything. And he's like, have you heard of ultrafiltration? And we're like, no, what's that? He explained the process of UF, which is basically like on a macro scale using a Brita filter. But like, it's just a series of metal pipes, and the milk swashes in and out and in and out. Inside you have these filters. It catches the lactose sugar, because lactose is just like a big sugar that a lot of people have trouble digesting. And that was a huge unlock for us.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy still has no idea who the fuck we are. But huge unlock for us.
He's like, oh, good luck, guys. This is...
Yeah, he's like, good luck. We're like, all right. So that's that. We just taught ourselves that, like, the process of being shelf stable. Again, it's just Googling shit and calling people. And like, you're in the early days, people are going to laugh at you. Like, people on the call are like, who are these knuckleheads from Boston just like calling me about an idea?
Yeah.
And then you'll have just some people that understand and believe and will share information. You have some people that will hang up on you.
Yeah.
Like, we talk to so many people still today that just don't see it, don't believe, don't want to help. And like, it is what it is. People have so much going on in their lives. We do not expect, whether it's like a potential investor, whether it's a potential partner, like, I think it's unrealistic to expect someone to just drop everything they're doing and like contribute and help and be an incredible partner. But which we understand, like we won't hold against you.
Right.
But if you see the vision, you want to be a part of it, and you contribute, then the idea is that it benefits all of us in the future.
So this is something I like to ask everybody that comes on the show. Being a founder is crazy difficult. Like we just walked through a perfect example. You have to go answer these hidden questions. You got to go through really low valleys, like you talked about earlier. It takes a pretty unique type of person to process all this information, maintain focus, maintain morale, and just keep moving the ball forward. What do you think it is about you and your Mako, your past, that has led to the success you've had as a founder?
I'm too stubborn to work for anyone else. And Josh and Ron and Justin and Todd and Mike and like AC and like the team, like they know how to work with me. I've just always, like right out of college, I basically like started my first, right out of college, I was a real estate agent for like an hour. Like I was a real estate agent for a couple months, and I remember like seeing like a $3,000, $5,000 check on my desk. And I was just like, this isn't it. This isn't it. And I don't know, it's just, I've always just wanted to do more in every job I've ever had. And then I just, like, I never thought growing up, I was like, I'm going to be a founder. I'm going to be a business owner. I was just like, I don't know what I was like, show up for football practice and have fun.
Yeah.
So, but no, I think it's just it's what excites me is the building, the unknown, the working with a group of people that like I genuinely enjoy being around and working towards the goal. And honestly, it might be like the athlete in me. Like I was in high school, like a thoroughbred jock, like just football, baseball, played basketball up until junior year of high school. And like that was sports for like what I loved, and like the team building and trying to win. And now it's very similar. I got a team, we're trying to win.
Yeah, I love that. I can relate a ton to that. It's part of the reason that I love being at JDS Sports. Is A, we get to invest in sports. B, we're all former athletes, and we kind of bring that culture of, team first, looking for people that resonate with that mentality. So it gets me back into that place that, I mean, it's who I am. Yeah, it's who I am. How about your day-to-day? As a company grows, more people come in, priorities shift from fundraising to product development to marketing. Like, what's on your plate today compared to what it was in the early days when it was just you and Josh?
I have literally changed this day to day. I mean, I think number one most important thing every day is, are there any fires to put out? Like, what problems are happening today? Are there any significant ones? A lot of what Josh and I do is run the day of the business, but also just plan, just strategize. Because I think that's what early on you don't realize and think about, is because you're just like, when you don't already have the business, you're not running a business, you're only doing strategy.
Yeah.
And then what you realize is you got to actually run the day-to-day of the business plus do strategy, not only for 6 months, but also 12, 24.
Yeah.
And it's just, so every day, again, like I'm just constantly on Slack huddles with Josh, like Fran who runs ecom, Justin who runs ops, like Anna and Alicia and Morgan and the marketing team. And it's like every day it's just like, what's the fire list? What do you tackle?
Yeah.
And then along with that, Josh and I are like constantly just fundraise.
Yeah. But how about these weeks, man? You must be working like crazy hour weeks. You seem like a happy guy.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little insight into the mind of a founder and how you make time for social, how you get to spend time with family, how you prioritize all those things, because you're clearly working really hard.
Yeah.
But it seems like you're finding enjoyment through it.
I mean, I love, like, it's all one. It doesn't really feel like work. I mean, Saturday, Sunday, unless like Sunday, Josh and I will just have what we call like blue sky conversations of just like random shit. But like on the weekend, like we're only working when we're just like calling each other about random shit.
Yeah.
Like we're not like at our desks, like grinding away. I like to think about it, for me at least, Monday through Friday is for the business. Like I'm pretty much exclusively focused on just building. 6 to 7 p.m. is gym time. Like if Josh calls me at 6:42, better be a goddamn emergency, and he knows that. But then other than that, it's just like, it's a boring, if you look at it from the outside, if it's just work and social, it's like a boring life, but it's all one because it's so fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like there are things that everyone does that they hate doing, whether you're a founder, whether you're an intern, whether you're an athlete. Like, there's some shit you hate, which obviously there is, but most of it is just so fun because it's so much problem solving, and the more that we put into it, the more we see it grow.
Yeah.
And also, I think when you're building a startup, I'm sure the same thing is, if no one's doing it, like, it just doesn't get done. Like, there aren't enough layers of like the champagne tower, right? Where like, all right, it comes on your desk and you don't do it, then the next group will do it, then the next group will, no. If you don't do it, not getting done. It doesn't get done. And I think that's what Josh is very good at, is he is so good at like the nooks and crannies of the business, the little things that are just like, whether it's assistant work, whether it's intern work, like he just gets so much done himself. And like, that's what like Ron is great at too. That's what Justin's great at. Like, that's what a lot of our team members are just very strong at. Like me, I'm more of like when I'm not as much in the weeds on the little stuff, I'm more of like the big picture thinking of the future. Because I think that's why Josh and I like yin and yang well together. But to answer your original question, usually Saturdays and Sundays, I'm like, just do whatever.
Yeah. Living in New York, there's a lot of distraction and you need to get away from work.
Yeah.
How about your relationship with Josh? I think my understanding is you guys were friends prior to Slate.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what that's like to sit around with a good buddy. You're like, hey, this is a good idea. We should go do it. Reality is, that is mostly just talk and it doesn't actually happen. It's inspiring, I think, to a lot of people to hear that these two friends went out and did something cool together.
Yeah.
How's that relationship and what's it like working with him?
He's my book. He's my guy.
Yeah.
I think what's unique about Josh and my relationship is like, it's not like we were like going out together in college and like had this close group of friends. Like, we didn't know each other until post-grad. I only met through business. Like my first company and his first company, we met, and I think we realized like ethically, we just are very similar, but we still want more. Like, we're not, I think there's different like types of founders. Like, you got to kind of figure out what kind of founder you're going to be, right? Like, like what is your thing? Like, is it like, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And I think he's extremely like operational, tactical, like in the weeds, and I'm like, but he can still think vision, and I am more vision, right? Still like tactical, operational in the weeds. So I think we just kind of figured out that like we yin and yanged well, but also like it's blind trust. Like, you see so many co-founder breakups. Like, I've seen so many.
Yeah.
And Josh and I have always believed our relationship with each other is more important than each of our individual relationships with the business.
Yeah.
Because like we right now in this growth period, like it's been 5 years, like we still have so long to go, and us aligning and building together has more weight than like the brand itself. And then again, because when we align, then we can get everyone like on the team aligned. And again, everyone like, there are tons of people on the team have opinions, and we'll discuss them. And like, if it's a sales decision, Mike thinks we should absolutely do something, and he brings it to Josh. Josh and I discuss it, and we do it, right? If it's what's best. But like Josh, it starts and ends with blind trust. Because also, like, when you're building something, of course, like there are financial outcomes that everyone strives for, but you want to fucking enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, if you run and enjoy your job, why take on the stress of a startup? Like, why not just go like work an office job?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you're a pretty young dude, right? You're 29, 30.
32.
32. Oh, wow.
Thank you for that.
I don't know why. I thought you were my age. I was looking.
So 32 is not young. It's how old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're old as shit, bro.
We're getting old. I got one more year until I'm 30. That is how that works. Yeah. It's not over. It's scary. How many people are at the company?
Right now, we got like 50 to 60.
50 to 60. So it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so you were around a little bit younger than me when you guys started.
So I think when we launched Kickstarter, I say in the video, I was 26.
26.
Went on Shark Tank, 27, and then launch 2027, I think, when we launched.
Cool. So my question is, how did you grow into a leader? You're at the helm of 50 and 60 employees now. How do you set culture? Are there any like real things in place? Like you go to business school, right? They're like, oh, you got to write a like mission statement. You got to write core values. That's never really been the type of person I am to like be that. That's
like eye roll.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But I'm like, I see the value in these things, but I think they kind of just fall into place, and you follow a leader, right? So you're still relatively a young guy, and you started this thing when you were really young. How did you step up into being a leader?
So I think that the way that Josh and I like to think about leadership is everyone needs to lead by being their authentic self. If your lead, like who you are is like kind of an a-hole, gotta be kind of an a-hole. Like you gotta be your authentic self because your team will be able to sniff it and see right through it if you're not being real. So I think the way that who Josh and I are is we like fucking building and operating. Like we enjoy the operations of like we know our strengths and we know our weaknesses, each of us. And so I think that we lead, or I like to think we lead by just doing the work with the team. Like we're not, monthly, Zoom where we do like all hands, but we're not like giving this big like rah pump up. It's like, here's where the business is. We're brushing like, and I think that when it comes to me personally, like I've always liked just like trying to outwork everyone. Like I was a football captain in high school. Like I was VP of my community service organization in college and my frat. Like it's just like I wanted to always grow to the top and do things my way because I felt like they were the best way because they're my way. Like I understand everyone else's way, but like I wanted to have that voice and be able to kind of interpret, like listen to everyone's opinions and just absorb them, apply them as much as I could, but like make the ultimate decision. Maybe it's like a little bit of the control anxiety in me. Like I just like to like kind of do it my way. And so I think when Josh and I, when we think about leading the company, it's we want to be known as the hardest workers in the company at all times. And it's not just being on until 11:42 p.m. It's like, all right, we have problems, let's effing solve it. It's like, all right, we need to go close an account, like let's just get it done. Like it's a lot of the little things that we think add up, where some of the people that we respect the most in business are the people that just got effing shit done. Like not just the rah, not just the like, I brought in 50 million in funding with like one conversation. It's now like, are you in the goddamn weeds with them? And so those are the types of leaders that we respect. So that's what we try to emulate.
Yeah, servant leadership, lead by example. Take care of others. Yeah, I dig that. And then I think it gets back to your athletic career, like you said earlier. Good stuff. What's on the front burner? What's the problems you're trying to solve now? Is it expanding the product base? Is it getting into more stores? What's most important?
Yeah, I think we are always trying to focus on sell-through at stores, like velocity at stores. So like launching Target, launching Sprouts, launching like Kroger's. How can we make sure A, the product is on the freaking shelf, and B, people are picking it up? Because we know that the Slate customer exists. Like we know from other accounts that there are people out there that want the product. How can we make them aware that it exists through marketing? How can we, and drive them into the store? How can we make sure the product's on the shelf for them to buy it? And how can we make sure they put it in their cart? Like those are the three things that we really are hyper-focused on that we think, again, when you boil it down, that's just retail, that's just what business is. It's like, how do you market it? Like, make sure your operations are sound so the product is available and then sell. But I think when they give it on a macro level, it's how can we do the best we can to put ourselves in a situation to drive all 3 points home.
Is it dangerous adding new products when you kind of have like a core base and now you're expanding into something new? That's kind of like where I see Slate at now is like, okay, we know the core chase hit, right? And you're blowing them out and you're going deep into that market and getting that everywhere. Is it risk to say, now we have cookies, now we have whatever else? How do you think about that?
Yeah, so the cookies and the powders we're not planning on taking to retail anytime soon.
Okay.
I think it's more our existing products, making sure that they're in enough places and driving them home. I think when it comes to e-commerce, it's taking a look at the what's selling online and saying, is there a way to do a Slate version of this?
Yeah.
Which is also something we're always taking a look at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love the cookies, and I would love to like replace my whole day with stuff that's like this, where I you know probably better than I do. There's probably like innovation happening in food and beverage, right? Where my entire day can I like natural foods, right? But a lot of my entire day can probably be swapped out for something that's better. And how big do you think the Slate offering can really get?
I would say if you look at other high protein platforms out there, again, it's not our focus, but one day, I think we can get pretty wide.
Yeah. I really appreciate you coming into New York. Definitely going to be watching UFC events and looking for that Slate logo all over everything. Is there anything you want to say before?
Yeah, we're on IG at Slate Milk, and love JDS, love Slam, and appreciate the partnership.
Awesome. Thanks for coming in, D.